Welcome to the World History 1 lecture series. At the end of each slide there will be a 10-second delay. Use this time to pause the presentation and complete your notes. When you are done, push play and you will move forward. This lecture will begin in 5 seconds. Welcome to the World History 1 End of Course Review on Ancient and Classical Greece. And as we continue to move through the cycle of civilization, we review how civilizations develop differently. And to do this, we look at Unit 5, Classical Greece, topics 5.1 to 5.9. With that said, go to the next slide. Today we look at issues related to Unit 5, Ancient and Classical Greece. Open your notes to Unit 5 and read along. If you see something you do not understand, go back into your notes or find the lecture on the topic that you need help with. We start with the geography of Greece, topic 5.2, and we learned that Greece is surrounded by seas, set on peninsulas, connected by straits, and includes islands. Here's a map of the Mediterranean basin. Let's look at two landmarks. Here's Egypt and the Mediterranean Sea, and everything in this red box is Greece. And in this box we see that there are 5 seas. That's the Ionian, Mediterranean, Aegean, Marmara, and Black Seas. The Aegean's the most important. 2 straits, the Straits of Bosporus and Dardanelles. 2 peninsulas, the Balkan Peninsula and the Peloponnesian Peninsula, the island of Crete, Macedonia, and Asia Minor. We also are going to look at 3 city-states, which include Troy, Athens, and Sparta. Athens and Sparta are the ones we will focus on. And then there are 3 important military battles that were fought. One on the plains of Marathon in the First Persian War, and then there's 2 battles, Thermopylae Pass and Salamis Island in the Second Persian War. Finally, Greek civilization started in Crete, migrated to the Balkan Peninsula, maintained itself during the Dorian or Dark Age, and spread into Western Asia during the Hellenistic period. In other words, Greek civilization stays in that red box until it is spread into Asia by Alexander the Great. Go to the next slide. Next, we review the influence of Greek geography, Part 1, Topic 5.3. The Greeks foster a monetary-based, seafaring trading tradition to spread Hellenic or Greek culture and develop a powerful navy. Remember, for the Greeks, water is everything. The land? Not so much. Greece has many hills, limited arable land, or land to farm, and a dry climate, which required Greeks to develop semi-isolated city-states, like Athens and Sparta, and colonize the eastern Mediterranean to support their population. There is not enough land in Greece to support all of Greek civilization. The geography also affects Greek mythology, which is adopted by the Romans and influences Western civilization. Greek mythology is a collection of stories about the exploits of gods and goddesses, which sought to explain natural phenomena and life events. Who are these gods and goddesses? They are Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Ares, Athena, Aphrodite, Artemis, Apollo, Hades, and Persephone. In other words, this is a polytheistic religion. Finally, Greek sculpture and architecture relies heavily on Greek mythology. Go to the next slide. If we have a part 1, we're going to have a part 2, so let's look at the influence of Greek geography. Part 2, Topic 5.4. A city-state, or polis, is a central urban area that controls the surrounding countryside, and in Greece that includes Athens and Sparta. Remember, it's not just the city, but it's the city and all the area around the city that creates a city-state. Athens is a major trading center connected to a seaport and other civilizations. In other words, Athens is connected to the rest of the ancient and classical world, while Sparta is landlocked and isolated. This will allow for the development of two completely different city-states. The differences between Athens and Sparta are as follows. In Athens, we have three classes of people: citizens, free people, and slaves. In Sparta, we have Spartan citizens who are males and everyone else. In Athens, society was centered around promoting civic life and civic duty. It was all about making Athens a better place. Sparta was an aggressive, militaristic society. In Athens, we have direct democracy, but for citizens only. In Sparta, we have an oligarchy, ephors, kings, a council of elders, and citizens. That's a select group. In Athens, every citizen has a right and duty to vote. You get that duty by taking the Athenian oath. In Sparta, the government is run by a select group of powerful citizens. Again, that's an oligarchy. Finally, in Athens, we have open public debate at the Acropolis. That's the center of the city. In Sparta, no open debate. Go to the next slide. We continued to focus on Athens by looking at Greek democracy, topic 5.5, and we learned that there are men in Athens, which is the primary Greek city-state after 750 BCE, who believe in rational thought and want to control their own destiny. In other words, they don't want to be ruled by a king, they want to rule the city on their own. But you just don't go and rule Athens. Instead, there are four stages of Athenian democracy. We start with monarchy, one person rule inherited through family succession. Those are kings and queens. We then move into aristocracy. That's ruled by a small group of nobles. In Sparta, that was oligarchy. Then we move into tyranny, ruled by one person who seized power by force. And finally we reach democracy, ruled by an assembly in which citizens vote. But how do we make these changes? Well, change occurred because landowners were getting rich while farmers went into debt and wanted a voice. You will see this time and time again throughout the rest of World History 1. Finally, we have two tyrants, Draco and Solon, who worked towards creating Athenian democracy, which is similar but not identical to representative democracy like we have here in the United States. Go to the next slide. Let's switch gears and talk about the Persian Wars, topic 5.6, the only time when the Greeks unite together as one civilization. The Persian Wars represent classical Greece, replacing ancient Persia as the dominant civilization in the eastern Mediterranean basin. Go Greek power! And there are four major events in the Persian Wars. Remember, there are two Persian Wars. It all starts when Athenians try to gain control of the Aegean Sea by helping out the Ionians against the Persians. That happens in 494 BCE, and the result is that the Persians invade Greece. The Greeks start messing with the Persians, and the Persians respond. And now we have the First Persian War. The Persians invade Greece at the Battle of Marathon, and the Athenians and Spartans form an alliance. This happens in 490 BCE, and the result is that Greece defeats the Persians. It's the first time that the Greeks defeated the Persian Empire. Now we have the Second Persian War. The Persians invade Greece to destroy Athens, and the Spartans fight the Persians at the Thermopylae Pass. This happens in 480 BCE, and the result is this: the Spartans are defeated, that's the 300, but Athens is evacuated. We continue with the Second Persian War when Athens is destroyed by the Persian army, but the Athenian navy is still around, and they fight the Persians at the Battle of Salamis. This also happens in 480 BCE, and the result is that Athens wins, and its independence is preserved. The Persians lose, the Athenians win, but Athens is destroyed. It needs to rebuild, and it needs a leader, and we find one. Pericles, he's around from 460 BCE to 429 BCE, fosters democratic expansion and cultural development in Athens as it becomes the dominant city-state in classical Greece. Go to the next slide. Now that we've reached the golden age of Greece, let's look at achievements of classical Greece, topic 5.7, and Greek philosophy, topic 5.1. Two historians provided an unbiased and neutral account of Hellenic history. Herodotus is the father of history, who wrote about the Persian Wars, and Thucydides wrote an ongoing account of the Peloponnesian War. There are two achievements in literature and drama, so let's look at the achievement, what it represents, and its notable persons and works. Lyrical poems or literature represent Greek history through stories, and our notable person is Homer, who wrote the Iliad and Odyssey. Tragedy or drama represents drama based on human suffering, and our notable persons are Aeschylus, who wrote the Oresteia, and Sophocles, who wrote Antigone. Greeks also lay the foundation for classical art and architecture. With art, sculpture depicts the perfect human, and with architecture, we have the Acropolis, Parthenon, and Greek columns. Furthermore, there are four achievements in science and mathematics. With science, Hippocrates discovers that diseases have natural causes, and Archimedes is the father of fundamental physics. With math, Pythagoras develops the Pythagorean theorem, and Euclid wrote the seminal text on geometry. Finally, three Greek philosophers lay the foundation for modern philosophy. Socrates, or Socrates, he's into critical inquiry and the Socratic method, and he also died by drinking hemlock. Plato, he's into form and perfection, and he is the founder of the Republic, the first university. He's also a student of Socrates. Finally, we have Aristotle. He's into knowledge through experience, and he is the father of modern philosophy. He is also the teacher of the person who we will be talking about in the next slide. Finally, let's talk about the Peloponnesian War, topic 5.8, and Alexander the Great, topic 5.9. Once the Persian Wars are over, both Athens and Sparta want to control Greece. Athens dominates the Delian League, which was put together to fight the Persians if they were to invade again, and Athens controls most of Greece. Sparta creates the Peloponnesian League to protect itself against Athens. Well, eventually these two city-states are going to fight each other, and at the beginning of the Peloponnesian War, that's a long war, 431 to 404 BCE, Pericles builds a wall around Athens to protect it from the Spartans, and it works. But it also causes a plague that decimates the population. A lot of people in Athens die because of this wall. In fact, Pericles dies, and then Athens makes multiple mistakes, which allows Sparta to win the war. But both city-states are now weak, and that leads to this. Philip of Macedonia, he's a barbarian from the north, invades Greece, and his son and pupil of Aristotle, Alexander the Great, conquers the former Persian and Egyptian empires. But he does not conquer India. His troops won't go that far, and he dies in Babylon, leaving behind Hellenistic culture. That's it for this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in class.